guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and you know they are really groovy. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and we know they are really groovy.
It was just me for a second. There's
Nope. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Guys and Sometimes a Gal talking about movies. And as always, I'm here with Mr. Rory Penland, the man of 1,000 voices, and
sounds.
And sounds. And somewhere we have our
I can't take that mantle from Michael Winslow, though.
That's right. We have our gal, Miss Renee Yaworsky, the lady of 1,000 wigs.
And I think that's a great way to introduce me. But it just occurred to me when Rory was doing that, it would be so cool to do or awful to do. What is it called? When you at the game where you act things out. You know what I mean? We have to act.
It would be so cool or
charades?
Awful.
It would be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever if we had to do a whole two guys and a girl with you. Just my second pick is 2 words.
Charades?
Oh man,
charades. Thank you.
Charades. No,
I love
no.
That. Let's do it. I basically just come up with ideas to annoy Rory.
No.
My whole raison d'etre is just to annoy Rory Penland live on here.
This is why Thursday's show is going to be about Manos, the Hands of Fate.
Thank you. So this is what I did. So Rory doesn't want to do Manos or Manos, depending on how we pronounce it. And he doesn't want to do it. And so I was like, we have to do it. And so now he had to make the whole timeline, which means he had to spend hours of his life watching the original movie.
Without mystery science theater critique.
And he's so ornery about it, and I love it. And I said, Rory, this is going to be the best thing ever. And he's going to read the live.
That's about 40 minutes into it.
Why am I doing this?
It's just great. So
it's the worst movie ever made. That's my pick for the worst movie ever made.
It is the worst movie ever made, and that's why it's going to be a training film. I'm really excited. I can't wait.
He makes Ed Wood look like Cecil B. DeMille.
Wow.
And we're talking.
That's saying something.
And we're talking about composers today, and I do think that whoever did the soundtrack for Manos needs to get an honorable mention with the Torgo song.
The most ridiculous use of flutes and woodwinds in a horror score.
It is
the fact that he didn't get an Academy Award.
Yes.
We're driving through Texas. There's no place to go.
That's basically the movie. They've already seen the movie if they've seen Rory do that.
Rory can just act it out for us.
Yeah, just act it out. He could be one-man show. Okay.
The evil god of fate, please rain vengeance upon these people in us.
Please.
Save it for tomorrow.
Save it. We're doing other composers today. They're not as good as
Save it for General Howitzer. I'm sure he has a thing or two.
No, General Howitzer would never do that gag.
No. No, he wouldn't. He's a little classier than that.
So I had to do it here when we're talking about composers, and that is definitely a good example of a bad composer soundtrack for a movie. Yes.
Bad composer. Yeah.
I suspect it was the guy that created the film. He was probably doing the sound of the music, the sound of music
probably.
Too.
Hey,
he's the star of the movie. I didn't know that until I was watching yesterday, and I realized he just changed he changed his name to Hal. from something else, and he's the guy that he's Michael. He's the guy that drives them to this place. Anyway, yes, composers. Obviously, movies would not be the same experience without the mood music that we hear in movies. And there are great examples of this. that I know we're going to talk about tonight, or this show, I should say, because some people are watching the day. I have to stop doing that. I have to say, if we're doing it live at night, I shouldn't just say it's night or day or whatever, because they might watch it on YouTube,
right,
at another time of the day.
At whatever point in time you're watching this, we'll be talking about film composers. Yes.
Yeah. And I think the first real great film composer who consistently, was doing movies was Bernard Herrmann.
Oh yeah.
He was the first big rock star as far as movie composers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He started out doing films like The Devil and Daniel Webster. He was doing Orson Welles films, Citizen Kane. And when film in the 50s started to go into sci-fi, he ushered in a totally new sound for sci-fi soundtracks with his soundtrack for The Day the Earth Stood Still, which was in 1951.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
All that stuff came into play for those films in the 50s.
It's called a theremin, right?
Yeah.
Did we see using that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, if you haven't heard the soundtrack without the movie, it's really, really an awesome listen to.
Yeah. He also created the original theme, and I'm talking about movies, but he also created the original theme to The Twilight Zone. But it's not the
correct. It's not the ding 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 ding. That came later, but he did a lot of the music for the original first season of the Twilight Zone, including the haunting opening theme.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But again, Twilight Zone became it became more about Serling in the second season.
Yeah.
And he was doing the intros and the outros in some cases for the stories.
Yeah.
And it just kind of got weirder.
wrote a bunch of them. Yeah. But it was.
And again, we get that.
Yeah. Which that's the one that everybody remembers, but it was only used in the last season of the show, like the 5th season. And that's the one that had the doors.
That came in the second season.
No.
Oh.
It was actually the final season. There were several other iterations in between, but that one, and yet that's the one everybody remembers when they think of the Twilight Zone, and the whole thing with the door and the eye, and that's the the opening credits. That was last season as well. Yeah. So, anywho,
he also started to do movies with, I want to say, Charles Schneer, the producer that was doing all of the Dynamation films with Ray Harryhausen and stuff. He did the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. He did Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah.
He liked to experiment with doing all brass for this score and maybe all strings for this score.
Right.
Hitchcock grabbed a hold of him too. And all of Hitchcock's greatest films have his score attached.
Yeah.
I think they had a falling out though over the soundtrack for what's the Iron Curtain one, the one with Paul Newman.
Oh,
over the I think Julie Andrews was in that too, wasn't she?
I think so.
Anyway, they used another score.
Yeah.
Hitchcock evidently wasn't happy with what he came up with.
Really? Wow. Wow.
And it's out there. I mean, it's been released. The original score that he created for the movie has been released. And I like it. I thought it was suitable. But evidently Hitch didn't like it, and he used somebody else.
Wow. Yeah. And of course, probably the most famous one, I'm sure that everyone remembers, who's, well, of course, unless you haven't seen the movie. But even if you haven't seen the movie, it's the theme from Psycho.
Here's the thing. Psycho was a little black and white movie that Hitch did. And when he was done with it, he was also doing television at the time. He was doing Alfred Hitchcock Theater at the time.
Right, yeah.
He was not happy with it. He said, it's not working. And I'm going to use it as an episode of my TV show. And all that money that went into making that movie, it was going to go into as an episode of the TV show.
Wow.
And Bernard said, "Let me take a look at it and let me see if I can come up with some music for it." And he did. And he came back, and Hitch looked at it, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, you made it work. It's wonderful." You know, because we had the eek, 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 bum, 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 you know.
Yeah.
And
just the opening violins with the yeah.
But so Hitch actually gave him double the salary. He doubled his salary because of what he did for the film and made it again an overnight sensation.
Exactly.
North by Northwest, another great soundtrack by him. Vertigo. Just a lot of really. I mean, even The Trouble with Harry. You know, I mean, he did a great job with the comedy of the situation. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was consistent on up into 75 when he did his last score for Taxi Driver and then passed away.
Yeah.
So he was number one on my list.
Okay. All right. Well, number one on my list is probably a little more contemporary, I guess.
Again, I was going kind of in the history, the succession. You know, okay, this guy did 30s to 70s. This guy did 50s, 60s to 70s.
Okay. All right.
They'll get more contemporary as we move on.
Yeah. I like always. I just do most favorite.
You do it by your favorite.
I just do by my favorites. Yeah. In fact, somebody I was going to say earlier, a friend of mine, or an acquaintance of mine, sent me a DM and asked, well, how do you guys pick your shows? How do you decide what's going to be on your list? What's your method? What's your methodology? And I said, there is no method. At least for me.
Yeah.
There's no method to my madness. It's just it's the ones. Well, since when we're talking about movies, it's just the ones that I can watch over and over and over again and not get bored.
Yeah.
Even if I've seen them a million times.
Just our fondness for whatever. Yeah.
Just
that we pick.
Just the fondness. Yeah. And kind of the same thing here with the composers. So on the top of my list is John Williams.
Okay, yeah.
Williams
He's on my list.
Yeah, he has created some of. Well, I mean, he has literally created themes for some of the most epic movies in the last 50 years,
and TV shows,
and TV shows as well. Yeah,
started out with Irwin Allen.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of these guys start off on
Land
of
the Giants, Lost in Space, both soundtrack, both seasons, both theme songs for the Lost in Space.
Right, Lost in Space, Land of the Giants.
And then he started doing Irwin Allen's movies, the disaster movies, and that's what led him to get scores, composing movie scores.
Right, that's right. Towering Inferno and yeah.
Poseidon Adventure.
Exactly.
Haunting.
Yeah, great score. Right, yeah.
I'm a good swimmer.
That's not your Shelley Winters?
That's my Shelley Winters.
Oh man. Yeah. For me, his score for Superman, the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, was him at the top of his game. I mean,
on Star Wars.
Well, I do. I love the Star Wars theme. I love Indiana Jones. Pretty much all the movies he's ever done with Steven Spielberg.
Yes,
I'm there for them. But for me, just for me personally, it's the theme from Superman that gets me every time. Just it's so epic and so. You feel like, this is...
It's heroic, yes.
Heroic, yeah. It's about a superhero,
As long as Margot Kidder isn't doing a monologue over the top of it.
Yeah. That.
Can you read my mind?
That's the one really cringy moment in the whole thing. It's like, no, Margot, no.
I think he was at the top of his game in the early 80s when he did Indiana Jones, the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back, my God, what a fantastic collection of character themes. I mean, that's basically what it was.
Yes.
Oh, that's Yoda's theme. Oh, that's Darth Vader's theme. Darth Vader finally has a theme now.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wait.
You know, right down to, you know, flying through the asteroid field, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just awesome. And dun 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 dun. Who didn't grab something in their house and run through the house thinking they're Indiana Jones to that thing?
Exactly, with boulders chasing, you know, almost running you down, or you know, natives chasing you with spears. Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree. I can't imagine. I don't think that he's ever done a bad job, a bad score where you're like, well, that was not very good.
I can't think of one off the top of my head. I can't.
You know, and
I mean, everything that he's touched, he's really done it. He's done a justice to it.
Yeah, and I'd argue that that he does his best work when he's working with Spielberg. But like I said, that's an arguable point. But he seems to really come up with, I mean, it really inspired, you know, music like Indiana Jones, and even some of the more like his music for Saving Private Ryan, for example, which is epic yet very subtle, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And of course Schindler's List and all the more serious Spielberg movies.
Right.
So yeah, so that's my top pick is John Williams.
Understood. Again,
yeah.
he's had a lot of staying power too.
Yeah. And he's one of the few. It's one of the few on the list that's still alive.
Okay, so
anyway.
Number 2 on my list was Henry Mancini.
Oh yeah.
Who did, you know, Peter Gunn, the Pink Panther movies, Breakfast with Tiffany's, Moon River. I mean, he's created a lot of songs from the 60s that everybody remembers. You know, today. You know, they play them. Baby Elephant Walk.
Yeah.
See? There it is.
Exactly.
And Peter Gunn. You know, which was the Blues Brothers theme.
That's what I was going to say. It crops up in so many other movies, but yeah, I remember that from the Blues Brothers.
Ironically, one of his best soundtracks was from a movie that tanked at the box office, and I don't think it still hasn't made its money back. And that was The Great Race with Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis.
Oh, really?
Which was
wonderful.
Again, the first half of the movie is wonderful, and then it just gets all bogged down with bull.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack is awesome.
You know,
Professor Fate's theme, Leslie's theme.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful, and they got original songs like He Shouldn't Have Had on a Swing on Me.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, love that. Love Henry Mancini. Just the stuff that he's done for the Pink Panther movies is wonderful.
Yeah. And another one of those.
So many others. So many others.
And I think that's
on up to Condor Man from Disney.
Condor Man. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
When Michael Crawford, the Phantom, was a Condor Man. It was a flapping superhero.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's one of the things that is one of the things why we remember these particular composers is their music is just so, it's hummable. You know, I mean, actually sit here and go, like Pink Panther, you know, da-dun, 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 da-dun.
And The Shot in the Dark. Down, 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 which was the Inspector Clouseau theme.
Right. Yeah. And of course, those of us from a certain generation, we remember the cartoon show with the Pink Panther.
Sorry, folks, we have to hum it because otherwise we'll get a copyright.
Exactly. That's why
you can't play that music on YouTube. You gotta hum it.
So we're humming it to avoid copyright strikes. So
and for comic effect.
Exactly. That's funny.
All right. What was your number 2?
So my number 2 is actually an Italian composer by the name of Ennio Morricone.
Oh my God, how could I have left Ennio Morricone off my list?
Yes.
Yes.
Who is just he's best known for all the so-called spaghetti westerns directed by Sergio Leone and
yes,
the Man with No Name trilogy with Clint Eastwood, and probably, of course, and again, even if you haven't seen the movie, you've probably heard the theme to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Trying to look like him.
Yeah,
with my glasses.
Yeah.
The Good, the Bad, like
yeah. and if anyone's watching, if you're watching this and you really want to hear a really, really good version of the theme besides the original one, you got to listen to the Danish Philharmonic Orchestra. I'm sure it's all over YouTube.
Okay.
They do an amazing rendition of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly theme. But all his scores,
lot of it out there, yeah.
Yeah, but all his scores have that. I mean,
all the spaghetti westerns that he did.
Not
just the Clint Eastwood ones, but Terrence Hill ones. My Name Is Nobody.
Right. And
I mean, again, he's just, and then he came over. He started doing American films,
right?
Like Once Upon a Time in America.
Once Upon a Time in America.
And, The Untouchables.
He did The Untouchables. Yeah, he did The Hateful Eight for Quentin Tarantino. Still doing westerns, but he's done other things as well. But
he is a marvelous composer, and again, one of his best scores is Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yes.
That was actually Jason Robards' theme in that.
Jason Robards and Charles Bronson had the harmonica theme.
Is the bad guy in that, which is
yes,
wonderful.
I mean, and the way the guy was it
Frank.
Frank,
and Charles Bronson.
Charles, yeah.
The man with
that was Sergio Leone, right? I mean, he directed that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The way he photographed Henry Fonda, who played the bad guy in this, and how he he always did the close up on the eyes, but he made his these blue eyes, just made them just that much more bluer. I don't know, it's just amazing. Exactly.
Man with a harmonica.
The Bronson character.
Hey, why do I know you?
Yeah.
Why are you following me around?
Yeah. So anyway, so that's my number 2.
Very good, very good. That's an awesome choice, actually, and I'm pissed off at myself that I didn't put it on my list.
It's okay.
But there was a lot to choose from, And John Barry is my number 3.
Okay.
He started out doing the James Bond films,
right? Yeah,
and just graduated to be one of the most. He and John Williams have probably won more Academy Awards than any of the other composers.
Yes.
He won for the Lion, Born Free. He won for Midnight Cowboy. He won for The Lion in Winter. Dun, 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 dun. Had a lot of great themes and songs for different movies, right on up to Out of Africa.
Yes.
And beyond, just a wonderful composer. And again, he started out doing James Bond music, and again, the best James Bond soundtracks are John Barry. Most of them. John
Barry, yeah. Probably, I would say, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, probably one of his best ones.
Yes, agreed.
Agreed. Take a drink.
He had to be. He had to make that one good because Connery had left.
Right.
Trying a new guy out, and it had to sound Bond, if nothing else, to kind of pull him in. So, and I had the same problem when they went up against when they did Octopussy, and they went up against Never Say Never Again. Yeah, they told him, "Look, this has got to be the most Bond." There was a lot of Bond theme in Octopussy.
Yes,
in Octopussy, because they wanted people to come to their Bond.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
The Eon Productions Bond.
Right. The official Bond.
Evening,
Evening,
that was my
Jonathan.
number 3.
Okay. Well, he was my number 3 too. So
awesome.
I
Now
think
John Williams was my number 4.
Oh,
so we already talked about John Williams. Who was your number 4?
My number 4 is Elmer Bernstein.
Okay.
Another just classic Hollywood composer. Oh man.
I like his work, and he definitely deserves a mention.
Yeah, I mean, what didn't this guy do? I mean, he did westerns, he did spy thrillers, he did comedies, he did music for Meatballs and Animal House and Airplane, for heaven's sake. But
he
then
did Stripes as well, right?
Stripes. Yes.
Bill Murray. Yes, we're gonna join up.
Yeah.
And Harold Ramis.
Yeah.
And Ghostbusters.
Yeah, even the Blues Brothers. We talked about the Blues Brothers. He did music for that. But for me,
yeah, John Landis liked to use him. So.
Yeah. So lots of comedies, like we said, but for me, I love his Western themes, like Morricone. He did a lot of great Western themes. And
Magnificent Seven, right?
Magnificent Seven, yes.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I mean, we could sit here all do the entire thing.
Do an exam session.
Yeah. And so he did the original Magnificent Seven and some of the sequels as well.
Correct.
But he also did True Grit, the theme from True Grit, and The Great Escape, which is the war movie with Steve McQueen, one of the best war movies ever made. Also has your friend Donald Pleasance. I say your friend. He has Donald Pleasance in it, and James Garner and Steve McQueen, of course.
I forgot who was in that.
Yeah, so many great actors as well.
Wow. It's been a while since I've seen it. Attenborough was in it.
Richard Attenborough, yes.
Oh, Richard Attenborough. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, just a terrific movie. So Elmer Bernstein takes my number 4 spot.
Number 5 on my list is Danny Elfman.
Okay.
Started out with Oingo Boingo, obviously, and Tim Burton had him do a short film. I think it was called Don't Go Down in the Basement, and he did a wonderful little track for that. It was perfect. Burton remembered that, so when he actually got the job to do Pee-wee's Big Adventure, he said, "Can you do a full soundtrack? I want you to do a full soundtrack." I said, "I'll give it a shot." And by God, history was made.
Sorry, didn't mean to do that
all of Danny Elfman's movies have a kind of a oompa, oompa, oompa.
Yeah, they have that very,
They actually made fun of that on the Family Guy when they did the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, when Beetlejuice came around, he did that. Batman and Batman Returns, and again, most Tim Burton films, it's Danny Elfman. And again, if it's a weird film, if it's something that's got a really weird kind of plot to it, they go right to Danny Elfman first.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, somebody put that in his notes that the guy that did the soundtracks for the Addams Family movies was like, I understand that I got this job because Danny Elfman must have been busy.
Yeah, it sounds very, very similar.
And I wish I could remember the name of the guy, the composer that did that, because those are wonderful. Those are wonderful soundtracks.
Yeah.
But
did
he gave a nod to Danny Elfman, saying, "Look, I'm just glad you were busy at the time because I would love doing this."
Definitely, yeah. Didn't he do the Addams Family movies too? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Danny Elfman?
Yeah.
He did not.
He did not.
Those were done. Addams Family and Addams Family Values were done by another composer.
No. I'm sorry. I was thinking Men in Black. Men in Black.
Men in Black. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So I kept thinking that sounds very, very much like Elfman's music. Exactly. That repeating. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Again, it's always got to have an oompa kind of thing to it,
Right.
With
It's got to have the.
Yeah, he likes to do that.
It's just not the same without the oompa.
But it's always fun to hear his original Batman theme in the newer DC movies and I know he's going to do that in the Flash because I think he's doing the soundtrack for it, and I've already heard it in the trailer. I heard his music in the trailer when they bring Michael Keaton.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
dun,
I
dun,
saw
dun,
more
dun,
footage
dun,
of Keaton as Batman last night on YouTube, and I am so excited about that movie now.
Yeah,
I just can't wait to see it.
They're really pushing Keaton pretty hard for that one.
As they should.
As they should. Yeah, I mean,
it is the return.
It is.
We get to see his universe again, his Batverse.
Yeah,
which is pretty dark and cryptic.
Exactly.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
So Elfman was my last choice, my fifth choice, because he's the newest.
As was mine. He was also number 5 on my list as well.
So honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
I'm gonna let you go first on honorable mentions.
Okay. I have a couple. One we already talked about was Bernard Herrmann. Again, just a wonderful composer. I mean, I think we've pretty much said everything.
The first soundtrack that I ever listened to by him that really grabbed me when I was young was Mysterious Island.
Oh,
from
yes.
like 1961, I believe.
That's right, Mysterious Island. Yeah.
And again, it was Dynamation. It was a Ray Harryhausen movie.
Ray
it was
Harryhausen.
Captain Nemo. Herbert Lom, of all people, played Captain Nemo in that.
Yeah.
And it was just that, just grab you. The theme songs and stuff that he had for the different. He had theme songs for each monster in the movie, each giant creature in the movie. So yeah, I just love listening to that. I got a CD of that early on. I just loved it. Burned the hell out of it.
I always suspected that they cast Herbert Lom as Nemo because he looked a little bit like James Mason from the Disney version. I think so, but that's just me.
Well, they
that's
definitely let him grow a beard for it.
Yeah. So,
but every time I see Herbert Lom, I see, Inspector Dreyfus from the Pink Panther movies.
The Pink Panther
I'm
movies,
going to kill you, Clouseau.
Yeah, with the twitchy eyes. Yes. So,
please tell me it was Clouseau. He was the Phantom of the Opera in Hammer in the Hammer.
Yes, one of the Hammer
Phantom
movies.
of the Opera.
Yes.
So yeah, at that time he was a serious actor. He wasn't the comedic actor that he became later because of the Pink Panther films. And
kind of like Leslie Nielsen went from a serious actor to doing just straight comedies after Airplane, really.
I saw in one of the documentaries they did about the Zucker brothers and Jim Abrams, they were just saying these guys came along and they just took all these great, wonderful historic actors and trashed their careers.
Yeah. Yes. Robert Stack, Lloyd Bridges.
The mother, Barbara Billingsley from
Barbara Billingsley, Peter Graves. It's like nobody was safe.
So Hans Salter, who did a lot of the original Hammer monster movie soundtracks and stuff, he gets a nod in my book. A lot of good stuff there. There was another one for Hammer Films that did a lot of Hammer films, and I couldn't remember his name right off the top of my head, but I want to say his name was Bernard something.
Yeah,
I should look that up. Give me a second.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, so my other honorable mention was James Horner.
Yeah, he's also honorable mention on my list. Yeah,
a lot of memorable themes, big sci-fi movies like Avatar. He did the soundtrack to Titanic, and of course, me being a major Trekkie, of course, The Wrath of Khan.
His soundtrack for The Wrath of Khan was awesome.
Awesome.
I listened to that and Search for Spock for a long time.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, and he also did the music for Aliens, for the sequel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another great soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's where he's. He didn't do the soundtrack for Terminator, but I'm wondering if he did the soundtrack for T2 now, because that's when Cameron and him started to click.
Yeah,
he does a lot of. James Bernard. James Bernard is the other one I was trying to think of. Yeah. James Bernard, I guess. Is the Hammer horror film guy. Did a lot of the soundtracks for those. Horror of Dracula, Hound of the Baskervilles, Frankenstein, the Frankenstein movies.
Yeah. Well, I looked it up quickly, and no, he didn't do Terminator 2. But he did do Commando with Schwarzenegger. So
yeah, we will hold that against him.
Yeah.
We were just talking about did you do a soundtrack that was from a movie so bad? There you go. We all have one.
Yeah. And I have to give I came up with a what I call a lifetime achievement award for to a composer named Max Steiner or Steiner. I'm not exactly how to pronounce that.
Max Steiner. We've seen that picture before.
Yeah. He
sorry, Renee.
Okay.
And where are you, Renee?
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm right here. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay.
Keep going.
She has nothing to say. Nothing to say about composers.
I have a lot to say.
Well, share with us.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, Danny Elfman, he looks so crazy and so weird, and he looks like bigger than life, right? That's his whole thing, and he's tattooed up, and he's from Oingo Boingo. But I've heard him talk, and he's like so humble and sweet. And he said that his whole philosophy about being a film composer is about knowing how to only honor the director's wishes. So he said you kind of have to almost erase your own vision, connect with the director, and make sure that it's his vision that gets into that soundtrack, not your own. So I thought that was really a beautiful thing to say, and I didn't expect him to have that attitude. I always think of him as being super flashy, bigger than life. If you look at him, it's almost like an Elton John type feel, you know. He's just really, he dresses very interestingly, and but he's just very confident in himself, and confident people tend to be very humble people in my experience.
He's kind of like the Andy Warhol of composers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I just picture him in the factory somewhere, like with the superstars around, you know? Or like Studio 54. He looks like a walking advertisement for Studio 54, but he's just such a, he's very level-headed. He's a very logical guy, very reasonable guy. And I think that's another reason why Tim Burton and others like to work with him is he's very professional, and he knows how to get things done, and he also knows how to listen. He's not someone who's going to be forceful about his art, and he's very collaborative. And of course, the film industry, you know, as we all know, you have to be a team player. You have to know how to work well with others. And I think his background with Oingo Boingo and coming up through bands and stuff and collaborating with other musicians probably helped him in that regard. So he's great. I also want to talk about Ennio Morricone because one of the soundtracks is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. And you guys might have never even seen the movie, but it was from a movie called The Mission. And in The Mission,
De Niro,
Robert De Niro, yeah.
The big cross over the waterfall.
That soundtrack blows my mind. Like, I was actually in Venice, and we went and there was a symphony where they did the Four Seasons in the actual church where Vivaldi debuted the Four Seasons. And then at the end there was an encore, and they played this incredible song, and it was like this oboe solo that goes like do 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 do, and I'm sitting there like crying, going, "This is the best song I've ever heard." And they said, "Oh, this is from The Mission." I went and I bought the CD at the back of the church. I was a sucker. I just bought it up, you know. But and then I said, "I got to watch The Mission." I'd never seen the movie.
Yeah,
and that whole soundtrack is amazing. But the name of the song is Gabriel's Oboe. So if anyone goes to YouTube and
Gabriel's Oboe, is
so good.
It's on most of the best of Ennio Morricone CDs.
I mean, it's just
and there's
like,
a lot of them. There's a lot of them. But yeah, that track is usually on them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's almost unlike anything else that he ever did. So that's why I was surprised. I thought, well, is it a different guy with the same name? Like it's so different, but it shows his chops that he's actually quite a diverse. He's very diverse, you know. And then the last thing I wanted to say is anything Blues Brothers related. At some point, I'll go and I'll do my Blues Brothers spiel, but on a different. Blues Brothers changed my entire. I mean, that's my best. That's my favorite.
We're on a mission from God.
Yeah, from God. Gad, yeah, God. That's but that whole soundtrack. I mean, the whole movie was the soundtrack. So the music,
all the old blues songs, and of course, all the great cameos. I mean, John Lee Hooker, Aretha Franklin. I mean,
Ray Charles.
It
never ends.
And
the Blues Brothers backing band was Otis Redding's backing band.
Right.
Like Donald Duck Dunn and Steve the guitar, like all of those guys, that was Otis Redding's band. So it's got to be good, authentic music. That's why people say, well, the Blues Brothers, it's controversial because they sold the most blues records, and of course they're not real musicians and they're white. But the backup band is as bluesy as it gets. I mean, that band they deserve all the accolades that they got from that. So but anyways,
I've got both. I mean, I've got the album that they did, was just the Blues Brothers, and I've got the soundtrack to the movie. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I really love those guys.
Yeah, who cares?
I think some of those guys that were in the band were from this SNL band, right? The
they were
Howard Shore version of the band, the early before.
Not Paul Schaefer. I'm thinking of Letterman.
Well, Schaefer was one of the guys I was going to talk about. He was the keyboard player. First SNL for Howard Shore.
Yeah.
And he actually lost his job because I think he went and did the Blues Brothers movie. And then ended up being David Letterman's right hand.
Right. Hey, Dave. Yeah.
Hey, you beautiful Dave. You love you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you, Dave. Love you.
You're a god.
We gotta ask Eddie about that. We never asked Eddie about Paul for some reason. I don't know why.
Paul Schaefer.
Yeah. Well, Howard Shore has done a lot of, at least
he's done some soundtracks, some wonderful soundtracks. Yeah. He did The Fly.
Lord of the Rings. He did the Lord of the Rings
done some
trilogy.
Great soundtracks.
Yeah. So, anywho, thank you, Renee, for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The other one we haven't mentioned, it's in my honorable mention list, is Jerry Goldsmith.
Oh, yes.
Who did a lot of soundtracks back in the 60s and the 70s. And most of the stuff that Joe Dante did, he got Jerry Goldsmith to do.
Yeah.
My favorite soundtrack, believe it or not, from Jerry Goldsmith, though, is The Shadow, the Alec Baldwin movie.
Oh.
Wonderful soundtrack.
Yeah.
But he did the Planet of the Apes. He did a lot of soundtracks.
Yeah.
A lot.
And again, of course, got to bring up Star Trek. Which we're going to do. He did the theme to the motion picture,
which became the theme song to the Next Generation.
Next Generation, right? Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. That's Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah.
I wanted to read what JD from Tasmania said. He gave us his top 5. Number 1, the piano. Michael Nyman, I guess. Once Upon a Time in the West, Morricone. We talked about that. JD, back to the beginning, we did talk about that. 3 is Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, Dylan
soundtrack.
Dylan, yeah.
And The Hours with Philip Glass, and on Golden Pond, Dave Grusin.
Dave Grusin, also
Dave Grusin.
The Goonies. The Goonies.
Yeah.
He's a jazz musician, and he's done some nice work on soundtracks as well.
And then Richard Thompson from Grizzly Man. Grizzly Man blew me away, by the way. Absolutely incredible. Everybody should watch Grizzly Man.
Okay.
So good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's
Horse dog, let a Werner.
Yeah. I mean, there's I when I was doing research for this, I came up, I was like, who are the top composers, and it's like 40 names came up.
Yeah, it's tough to pick 5.
And yeah, it was tough to pick 5 because
just like I said, oh my God, Ennio Morricone didn't make my top 5, really?
Yeah. And then you had like Nino Rota, who did the Godfather theme.
Yeah. Carter Burwell.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of good composers.
Alan Silvestri.
James Newton Howard's done a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But James Newton Howard to me is just kind of, okay, it's there. There's nothing that really has grabbed me. Oh, Alan Silvestri is another one of my honorable mentions.
Yeah, Alan Silvestri did the theme to the music for Forrest Gump and a number of
Forrest Gump, Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Several Schwarzenegger films. True Lies was one of them.
Right, yeah.
He did some of the Avengers movies too. He did the first Avengers movie that they all assembled. Yeah. So that iconic theme of theirs is his.
Right.
So they always kind of throw that in there. Da, 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 da. Yeah, right, that's thrown in there, and that's his.
Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely deserves a mention, Alan Silvestri. Yeah. He also did the Back to the Future films.
Right. And then you have like Miklos Rosa, who did the I think not the Ten Commandments. Ten Commandments. No, Ben-Hur, and a number of other themes. And, we just go on. We could just go on and on.
Nino Rota.
Yeah, Nino Rota. And Bill Conti, who did Rocky and many other films. Leonard Roseman.
He actually took over for John Barry with, I don't know why that was, for Your Eyes Only as well, for James Bond.
So, anyway.
Alan Silvestri.
Alan Silvestri, yeah. Almost made my list.
Please!
Please,
if you don't have a good sense of humor, you're better off dead.
Right, exactly. Oh my goodness, yeah, Roger Rabbit.
So yeah, I mean, again, the movies would not be the same if we didn't have the music from these wonderful, talented composers.
Yes.
I have to give a nod to Akira for the Godzilla films.
Oh yeah, I was thinking
how
about
could that
I
not
was
be
like,
in my top 5? I mean, seriously, I'm a huge Godzilla fan. How could that not be?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Ifukube, Akira Ifukube.
Okay.
Who did the original Godzilla movie? And
I was going to look it up.
Him and Maruo Sato have done most of the Godzilla movies from the early days.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello. So yeah, definitely got to give a nod to him.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's a theme that will haunt people for centuries.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
And I like that.
Top that theme for him for Godzilla.
Yeah. And I like that they did pay homage to that. Actually, brought it into the new MonsterVerse movies with
They did
Godzilla.
In Godzilla King of the Monsters. Yeah, they used a lot of his themes. Yeah,
a lot of the themes. From
I mean, what's funny was the Rodan theme, which was like kind of like the monster fight theme. Da na 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 da da na 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 da na na dun 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 dun. That was actually not brought in until Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. And it was never part of Rodan, the soundtrack.
Yeah,
it was different. And then the Mothra theme. Da 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 da. Ghidorah.
Roland's favorite.
Roland's favorite. King Ghidorah, and I'm wearing
King
glasses.
Ghidorah. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. That was King Ghidorah's theme. Anyway, a lot of interesting themes that he created. And again, he did a lot of Toho films that were monster movies too. I mean, he did a lot of films. Huge composer. Just worked till he was like 84, till he passed.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought him up because
he deserves a nod.
Yeah. So, excellent.
And his March themes were good too.
Yeah.
So okay.
All right. Well, there you go.
What did we decide we were going? We said we were going to do another show after this one. I can't remember what it was now, though. We said composers, and then we can do. Now I can't remember what we said we were going to do for the next one.
I don't remember now.
I should have wrote it down.
Yeah.
It could have been an actor. I think you were going to focus on a specific actor because you said there was enough of the directors.
Oh.
Yeah, we had done several directors.
So I don't know which actor.
And we decided to do composer.
Yeah, but it was some kind of actor that you both really liked.
We should.
Oh, was it De Niro?
Maybe we should do an actress.
Yeah. Why are we being sexist here and just focusing on the men? Just focusing on the men folk. There's plenty of great actresses out there.
You want to talk about Meryl Streep and her conquests?
She has a vast body of work. Yeah,
She does.
All right. Yeah, let's do Streep.
Let's do Meryl Streep next time, I guess. Let me write that down.
The lady of 1,000 voices. Because she does the accent so well. Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, Jamie's requesting at some point,
Yeah, we'll
Guillermo del Toro, yeah. Maybe after Streep. Let me write that down.
Yeah.
Then we can go back to directors a little bit.
Yeah. But I really want to do Star Trek at some point.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But we gotta narrow it down somehow. There's Star Trek.
There's 13.
We have to narrow it down.
Yeah, you gotta narrow it down.
De Niro it down. All right. So I got Meryl Streep, Guillermo del Toro, and Star Trek.
Yeah, there you go.
Got the whole month.
There's our schedule for the rest of the month. Yeah.
All right.
Now you, Rory, you're doing a improv show on the last Monday, right? You still doing that with Penn and Maria?
We're supposed to, yeah.
Okay.
Also next week, we're supposed to go to Baltimore next week.
Oh, okay.
I will still try to I need to find out exactly when we're going. I think we're going Monday too. So that means we'll be getting there Monday afternoon. I'll have to get back with you guys. We might have to postpone the show for a little while, but
that's fine.
So that's
Okay. Yeah. Just let us know.
Tomorrow is and again, there's the possibility I can do it from a hotel room. I mean, if we're not busy doing something on the first afternoon, I don't think. I think Tuesday we're going to be starting our thing. Tuesday and Wednesday is when we're busy, and then we got to come back Thursday. So, there's.
Do you want to push it back to like 10 your time instead of doing it at 6?
That's a possibility as well.
That way you're not like
rushing
for
the show.
Yeah, because I know how trips can be. You're like,
that might actually work better. For next week.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm good with that as far as if you want to do 10 o'clock.
9 o'clock your time?
Yes, 9 o'clock my time. Yeah.
All right. Renee, is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's good. That's excellent.
All right.
And Jamie's excited about Star Trek too. So that should be in about 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks from now.
She's gonna get 2 of her favorites.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was a Trekker. A Trekkie.
Trekker.
I think they don't like Trekkie, right?
Have you seen the documentary? It's called, is it called Trekkers? Where they discuss that in depth. It's a whole documentary about the difference between Trekkies and
Trekkers.
Yeah,
they don't like to be called Trekkies.
Yeah, you have to know which one you are. It's important.
I'm gonna have to look that up now. I consider myself a Trekker.
Well, I think
I've dressed in costume before.
If you're old like me, it's Trekkie. If you're young, it's a Trekker.
Trekker just sounds better. When you say Trekkie, it sounds like you're making fun of them. Oh,
I think that's the whole thing is Trekkie is kind of becoming.
Hey man, I'm not a Trekkie. I'm a Trekker.
I'm a Trekker.
Man, I'm a Trekker.
So live long and prosper.
Yeah. Tomorrow, skateboard Hall of Famer, artist, comedian, writer, Steve Anderson. I've been trying to get him on the show for 2 years. He's finally agreed to come on the show. He did some skateboarding podcasts and he got the bug. He's like, okay, I can do this. This is cool. This is okay.
Cool.
So we're going to have him on It's Casual tomorrow at 6:00 Eastern.
Awesome.
And General Howitzer, of course, is going to do Manos. The Hands of Fate, which is the worst movie ever.
Oh, you love it, but now you love it, right?
Oh,
now
you love it. Listen to her.
Watch it over and over again.
Listen to her.
I'm just so excited. This is like the
created by
ever.
a Texas fertilizer salesman. And let me tell you something. He knows fertilizer.
Yep.
Torgo, the guy, John, I think his name is John Reynolds, committed suicide before the premiere.
Oh.
I swear to God, this is true.
Oh, no.
Yes. He committed suicide. He died before the premiere, like a month before.
This is awful.
Wow. This movie is just...
Way to bring the show down.
Goodness gracious. Now everyone's so sad. I don't know that we should be doing it now. Now I feel bad.
Oh, jeez.
See, now you've ruined it for...
We've ruined it. The whole thing is ruined now, Rory.
Okay, I won't mention
that again. And I'm sure Millie Hazard is now sad.
Yeah.
Too.
Millie, you don't want Millie to get sad.
You don't want Millie to get sad. Uh-oh.
Well, Roland will cheer her up, I think.
Roland will definitely, yeah.
But Troy Moore is going to be there for that show, so it's going to be fun. There will be no mention of suicide during that show.
Yeah, please no.
Please don't.
No mention of
Jamie said change the subject. Yeah.
Glitter for days.
Glitter for days.
Glitter for days.
Sparkle. Happy fun.
It'll be fun. We'll keep it fun for sure on Thursday.
We're gonna read reviews from IMDb, which are just scathing, horrible reviews for the movie, the worst movie ever made, and then some.
I think the scariest part is that they didn't make it to be a comedy. You know, it really was supposed to be a horror movie, and it's just shocking.
Well, I'm sure Ed Wood.
Watching the original version without the MST 3000. Yeah, it's definitely supposed to be a horror movie, and it's it's so inept in every way, from soundtrack to, oh my God, jump cut edits all through the thing.
Yeah,
it's just horrendously bad. The acting and directing are just terrible. And
it's legendary, you know.
Not so scary. Not so scary.
It's scary, but in a different way. It's a scary in an existential sort of way.
It's scary that it got released and has made cult status. That's scary.
Everybody talks about it all the time. You know, it's like The Room.
The Room.
The Room.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Uh-oh.
Oh, hi, Mark.
It's not true. I didn't hit
I didn't hit her. It's not true.
It's not true.
Come on, Rory.
We gotta watch The Room now.
Hi, Mark.
You haven't seen The Room?
How did you not see The Room? Rory.
When did it come out?
Come on.
When did it come out?
I don't
This is the first I've heard of it. I swear to God.
Really? You've never heard it? Oh, wow.
It's literally worse than Manos, because at least Manos kind of has a plot, but The Room is worse than Manos, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
And here's the thing: the creator. Sorry.
I was going to say it came out in 2019.
Okay, 2019. The creator, we're not really sure if he was serious or not, or where he's from. He's very private about his ethnicity. He won't tell people what we know. It's probably, some weird, I don't know, but he just won't tell people. Yeah, you see, Jonathan Seven has seen it.
Yeah.
The Room is a must.
Must. Yes.
The Room. All right.
Jamie wants to know about Creep Show. What about Creep Show?
Haven't you done that one?
Go see the General Howitzer episode on that. The big monster episode on that Creep Show with Ruby Ray Moore. Yeah, we talked all about it. It was great.
So you have to watch The Room. The Room, and then also watch a movie called The Disaster Artist with James Franco, which is about the making. It's about the guy who made that movie. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's like the guy himself. I'm blanking on his name.
What was the second one?
The Disaster Artist.
The Disaster Artist.
The Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
Which he worked with.
Okay, I'll probably like that one better.
Based on a memoir. Tommy Wiseau or Wiseau.
It's Tommy
the guy.
Wiseau.
Yeah.
Tommy.
Who has this European accent that we don't know where he came from. Lisa, you're tearing me apart.
You're tearing me apart.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa. See, you'll know what we're talking about if you see this.
Doing a James Dean impersonation, huh?
It's like these quotable moments.
Yeah. And like I said, he said he wanted to make a big Hollywood, a real Hollywood movie.
He was like serious about it.
And serious. Spent about $6-7 million.
But it's just a guy in a room talking, making weird comments.
No. There's an actual plot to it, but it's so ridiculous. I mean, it's
about how Lisa tore him apart.
It is out there.
It's about how Lisa tore him apart. Yes.
Yes, that's basically the entire thing.
Yes.
It's meant to be real. Yeah, see, everybody. Yeah, people have seen it. Rory, watch it as soon as possible.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we can't do a big monster on it, but
there's no monsters.
There's no big monster.
I don't know. We might be able to. We did Monty Python and the Holy Grail, for crying out loud.
That's true.
We made it work.
We could do it as Tommy Wiseau's ego is a big monster. I think that's pretty accurate.
Well, Holy Grail had the rabbit. Just the armless bunny in there. Big, look at the bones.
And there's a monster at the end of Castle Ag.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Oh my goodness!
The creepy bridge keeper, the Knights of Ni. There's all kinds of monsters in that movie.
Yeah. What is your favorite color?
Blue. Okay, off you go. The rabbit.
It's just a flesh. You Scottish git! I nearly soiled my armor. Oh, well, there you go.
We did that for Fred Bowman. We wanted Fred Bowman to come on the show. We did that episode just for Fred Bowman. Because we love him.
So there you go.
All right, guys.
All right.
Good night. Or, again, whenever you're watching this film, good whatever.
Watching this video. Shit.
It's like a shit.
I'm trying to remember the line from
The Room.
No. I'm totally blanking out on everything. I can't even remember the name of the movie.
I've been doing that today a lot too.
Yeah, it's the one about the guy who lives in this like bubble world, and he thinks it's real, but everybody else is an actor. You know the one I'm talking about.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, yeah.
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. Thank you.
With Ed Harris.
If I don't see you, good day, good morning, good night. You know, all that just for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
And scene.
Thank you. Keep an eye out for those big movies. Those composers. Keep an eye out for those big composers. We'll figure out it. We'll figure out
Truman Show.
Thank you, JD. Yes, the Truman Show. Yeah.
Thank you, JD.
What a shame that text was coming from Tasmania. It was 5 minutes late.
And boy, was its legs tired. I love that. I love that. Thank you, Jamie, for watching.
Did it come by swallow? Well, the European swallow. See,
it's not a matter of where he grips it.
So it's all about weight ratios.
Weight ratio.
Oh God! See what you did.
2 ounce bird can't carry a 5 pound coconut.
Go away, or I shall taunt you a second time. Oh dear. All right. Well, adios, amigos.
Hope you enjoyed the show.